You're very welcome.
I'm distressing already.
You're de-stressing or distressing?
De-stressing.
Oh, in Polish they sound very similar, don't they? You're very welcome to our topic, How to Thrive Under Pressure, 5 top tips from the Bible, revising wisely and coping with exam and dissertation stress. And welcome especially to the postgrads, because this is part of the year-long postgrad programme. And look, it's 6:10. This is really going to be 20 minutes, and hold me accountable for that. And I'm just going to have 3 or 4 minutes on each of the topics. Little tips. It's not a very coherent lecture, this, but I have a visual aid for each of them. So this is like show and tell at junior school. Revising wisely, what does the Bible say to us? Tip number 1. Do you want to just close that window? Yeah. Right. Do you want to close that window as well? Great. Thank you. Oh, peace. Right. Tip number 1. Here is my visual aid. Drumroll. Okay. For anyone listening online who can't see, I'm holding in my left hand a 4-foot broom. Okay. Tip number 1: work. Work. Now this might not have been what you've expected. Yes? You've come here to de-stress and stop working. Well, actually, one of the things that we need to do to de-stress is to do a reasonable amount of work. Otherwise the stress gets worse because we're not working. To treat our studies as the work that God has given us. Genesis 1, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea and the birds of the heaven and the files on your computer and the books in the library. I twisted that a little bit. St. Paul to Thessalonians, if anyone is not willing to work, let him not eat. Jesus was a carpenter. The workshop of St. Joseph. So just very simply, work is a blessing, a gift, a responsibility, and one part, remember this is only one of 5, but one part of our healthy, happy, thriving life, if we're going to do anything, especially if you're going to study, is to do a little bit of work. Don't think that avoiding work is a way to decrease stress. It's not. And a lovely image, is not mine this, I can't remember where it's from, but to think of your desk as your altar. The priest standing behind the altar offering his sacrifice to God, well, in a very humble, simple, gentle way, to think, right, I've got this hour here at my desk, at my altar, to offer up my work and do the best I can. This is all part of, the scriptures is all part of Catholic social teaching, where we speak about the dignity of work and the sanctification of work. So really to feel, to big it up a little bit, to walk tall. There is a dignity to work. And for you to find holiness, maybe not in being some great heroic saint, but just in taking the work that God has done to you today, not 16 hours I hope, but whatever your study timetable is, the dignity of this work, doing the best you can, doing it from love and duty, and that there is holiness in this. There's also hardship. This is part of the burden of original sin. Adam and Eve toiling. They were meant to be blissfully happy, but things went wrong and the hard work set in. But actually, part of redeeming the world is entering into work willingly and joyfully and accepting the sufferings that come with it, within reason. It doesn't mean we stop trying to avoid suffering when it's important to avoid it, but just part of life is hard work. And also that we're working, to have in mind that we're working for others. You're working to pass your exams and get it all over with, I know that, but part of your study now, your work, is for the sake of others. I mean, all the kind of ramifications of what you're doing. You're working partly so that you can do well in your career and get a job afterwards and thrive professionally and support your family. So as it were, the boring humdrum studies that you're doing today are part of God's plan for your life, and for you to enter into that generously and willingly. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, Proverbs 11:1, meaning work honestly and diligently. Don't try and cut corners. Do you see a man skillful in his work, he will stand before kings, Proverbs 22. To take pride in your work, and to do it with faith, to do it with love, to do it for the Lord, and to do it as an act of love for others. Okay, so we need to do some work, and if you think that not working is a shortcut to happiness, it's not. Right, biblical tip number 2, visual aid. Drumroll. Okay. So for those listening online, this is a pillow that I'm hugging to my chest. Right? A pillow. Tip number 2 is rest. Right? So there's the broom for work. There's the pillow for rest. We need to rest. We need balance. Genesis chapter 2. On the 7th day God finished the work he had done, and he rested from all the work that he had done. God blessed the 7th day and hallowed it. Exodus 20. Remember the Sabbath day, the day of rest, and keep it holy. We need rest so that we can work and so that we can enjoy the rest. I'm not saying you have to make a rule that you will never revise on Sundays, because I think sometimes that feels like a necessity, because a bit like, imagine you had shift work and your boss said you've got to work a shift this Sunday morning and you have to do it out of necessity. But we need to create some Sabbath periods in our day and in our week. Every day you need a period of Sabbath, a period of rest. Is it an hour every 3 hours? Is it 10 minutes every hour? Is it working mornings and afternoons but not evenings? Or, whatever it is, you need some Sabbath in your day, and you certainly need a Sabbath in your week. And it might be Sunday that you keep separate and holy and sanctified. We need to stop the relentlessness, a lovely English word, I don't know what it is in other languages, relentlessness of work and striving, and a balance of work and rest. It's about balance, healthy balance. Psalm 3. I lay down and slept. I awoke, for the Lord sustains me. Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Listen to this. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. It's pretty strong, isn't it? He makes me lie down in green pastures. He wants you to rest, and sometimes you need to make yourself rest, or you need to buddy up with someone who will say, have you gone out for a walk today? Have you had a cup of coffee? Have you had a doze? Did you get to bed on time? Jesus rested. Mark chapter 1. In the morning, while it was still very dark, he got up and went out to a deserted place, and there he prayed. He wasn't just working. He needed to get away and have space and prayer. And even when people are busy, Jesus wants people to rest. Mark chapter 6, the apostles gathered round Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught, doing, busyness. And he said to them, come away to a deserted place all by yourselves and rest for a while. For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat. Have you had a bit of that in the last few days or weeks? Yeah, you feel like you haven't stopped, you haven't rested, you haven't eaten. Jesus says, come away to a deserted place. And the most famous biblical rest quote, Matthew chapter 11, come to me, all you that are weary and are carrying heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. We are working hard, hopefully, and resting. And Jesus wants that for us, and it's there in the Bible. Tip 3. This visual aid isn't quite right. I've done my best. Okay, drum roll. The third visual aid. Okay. The third visual aid is that.
A rosary ring.
Right. I'm holding a rosary ring. It's a symbol of a ring. Right? The third biblical tip is trust, and I'm holding what I want you to imagine is a wedding ring. Yeah, a wedding ring. A wedding band. A symbol of a promise between a couple, husband and wife. A symbol of covenant, of giving oneself wholeheartedly, without reservation. A symbol of absolute trust and trustworthiness between husband and wife, but of course a wedding as a symbol of trust between God and his people, between Jesus and his bride, the church. Yeah. You can trust the Lord as much as the husband and wife, infinitely more, but the symbol of marriage, that beautiful, unique bond, is a symbol of how much we can trust the Lord. Often we are afraid and stressed. We've finally got to that word, stress and anxiety. We're paralysed because we don't think that we've got enough. You think, I haven't got enough time to revise. I haven't got enough talent. I haven't got enough brain power. I haven't got the right notes. I haven't got enough energy. I'm not as clever as the person sitting next to me. I don't have enough motivation. There's a constant temptation to think that God has forgotten us, or that God hasn't given us what we need. And if only we had a bit more stuff, time, intelligence, brains, books, preparation, everything would be okay. But we go into panic mode. And it's partly it's just tough and we panic. But part of it is not trusting that we have what we need for the job in hand. And that God in his providence has asked us to do this work, this course, this exam tomorrow morning, and God in his providence has given you just what you need to do this. He's given you enough, and it needs you to trust him. This is about partly working with what you have and not fantasising about what you don't have. Not always comparing your gifts and talents and thinking that you're inadequate or that your resources are inadequate. You can see where I'm heading with this, can't you? The parable of the talents. People are given different amounts. 5 talents, 2 talents, 1 talent. It doesn't matter. What they're called to do is to be faithful with what they have, however big or small it is. So maybe you don't have as much time as you would like. Maybe you don't have the brain you would like, or the photographic memory that your flatmate has got that you'd like. But God has given you enough for the job in hand. And again, for you to kind of big yourself up and walk tall and say, okay, this is what I have. I can do the best with what I have. The guy with 2 talents in the parable, just to do the best you can. God didn't say, oh, you're useless, you didn't do as much as the guy with 5 talents. He said, great, well done. And the mistake of the guy with 1 talent was burying it, wasn't it? Instead of using the little he had and doing the best he could and getting a huge reward from that, he thought, oh, this is too difficult, the situation's too difficult, God's too tough. Don't bury your talents. The little you have, it's all you need, as long as you trust God and do the best you can. The smallness doesn't matter. Another parable, the mustard seed. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed that someone took and sowed in his field. It is the smallest of all the seeds. You've got some tiny thing, tiny gift. You've only got an hour. You've only got these books. You've only got this situation. Well, don't worry that it's small. Do the best you can. Plant this little seed and trust that God will let it grow and thrive, and a promise, it will become the greatest of shrubs and become a tree so that the birds of the air come and make their nests in its branches. And remember, the seed is growing secretly. Mark chapter 4. The kingdom of God is as if someone would scatter seed on the ground. It grows of its own accord. Yeah? Work with the seed, scatter the seed, do what you can, and trust that God will let it grow in whatever way. You don't have to panic. Trust God. He's put you here for a reason. You're here alive on this day, in this moment, with these resources, and He will help you through it. But just to know all that, just to trust, takes away a lot of stress and pressure, and removes some of the panic. Okay, tip 4, drumroll. Here we go. You've seen this before. I'm throwing up and down here a stress ball. A Roman Catholic Diocese of Westminster Youth Ministry stress ball. It's red for the Holy Spirit, and it's got a symbol of the Trinity on it. So you were all given one of these recently. Worry. Here's a worry ball, right? Some worry is just normal and healthy. Okay? Some worry. Nerves, pressure, anticipation. It can motivate us, and we need it. But another kind of worry can be destructive, can be harmful, negative. Trust God, and actually the sort of destructive, negative, heart-wrenching, paralysing worry is not necessary, and it's not helpful, and we need to fight it and use all our resources against it. Jesus says, as a command, do not worry. He says, do not kill, do not commit adultery, do not steal, etc. And he says, do not worry. It is a commandment. But also, he doesn't just tell us not to worry as if he's telling you off and you go away and feel guilty. He gives us reasons not to worry. And these are really helpful. This is all in the chapter 6 of Matthew about providence. I tell you, do not worry about life, what to eat or to drink, or your body or what to wear, or your exams and what to say, and your interview and what to do. Right? Do not worry. What's the reasons he gives? Well, just to go through them very quickly. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Is not life more than exams and interviews and internships? Right? So the first thing he does is he puts your worry in perspective. Life is more than this. Secondly, look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap, and yet your Father in heaven feeds them. Are you not of more value than they are? Secondly, he reminds you that you're precious to him. You're precious. He hasn't forgotten you.
He's not really speaking very highly of the birds, though.
Sorry? He's not
really speaking very highly
of the birds. Oh, I think he loves the birds. He's saying you're even more precious than the birds. Yeah. Well, actually, no. He loves the birds, and he's saying, look at how I love the birds, and you're even more important. And next, can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your span of life? Can your worrying help you in your exams? No. The good worry can, it motivates you. But this negative, destructive, paralysing, can't sleep, can't think, can't eat, my life is falling apart worry, that is not helping you. So Jesus, the great psychologist and pragmatist, gives you practical reasons why this worry isn't helping. It's not helping. You know? Why are you doing something that's not helping? And will he not much more clothe you than the grass of the fields. God is looking after you. And strive first for the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Keep your eye fixed on what's really important, and all these things will be given to you as well. So he's not just saying be holy and say your prayers and these other things don't matter, but focus on what's really important, on your own salvation, on your holiness, on working for the kingdom, and yes, on doing your duties and working as best you can, and everything else will fall into place. But if you spend unnecessary energy worrying and fretting, it won't help you. Today's trouble is enough for today. This is all chapter 6 of Matthew. Yeah. So okay, he's saying, worry about today, but why are you worrying about tomorrow? If you've got an exam tomorrow, worry about your revision today, not about the exam tomorrow. Do you see, even that helps. We're focused on the present worry rather than the next 10. And look, he says do not worry, but what he also says is, peace I leave you, my peace I give you. He gives us peace. He doesn't just tell us not to worry, he promises to give us peace. And we need to ask for that. Lord, give me peace. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let them be afraid. And finally, the final drumroll. Okay, I've just chosen lots of things for this. It is an icon, a portable icon, folding out, beautiful icon of triptych, that's the word I'm looking for. With, in fact, this happens to be, I picked it up out of my bedroom, Our Lady and the Nativity and St Joseph and the angels. But look, a religious focal point, an icon. So the fifth tip is prayer. Prayer. Please keep praying during exams. You might pray more or less than normal, I don't know, but keep praying. Keep handing everything over to God. Psalm 55. Cast your burden on the Lord and he will sustain you. And he will never permit the righteous to be shaken. Matthew 7. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened for you. Philippians 4. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again I say rejoice. Do not worry about anything. So first of all he says do not worry. But in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. Do not worry, but if you are worried, in brackets, hand it over to God. Tell God what you're thinking, what you're worried about, and he will look after it. Please pray. Right? It's not just a prayer of intercession, that's important. You need to pray for yourself and for everyone else who is worried about exams. That's why we've got our prayer diary in the chapel. But if you pray a prayer of intercession with trust, not panic, with trust, that prayer actually helps you to hand over your problem and your worry to the Lord and put it onto his desk and into his hands. So the act of praying, honestly, thoughtfully, lovingly, trustingly, frees you up. It means you've handed it over to God. Again, Psalm 55 I started with. Cast your burden on the Lord and he will sustain you. He will never permit the righteous to be shaken. We need to hand things over to the Lord, really to trust him. I've already made that point. And then the freedom and the peace that comes because we know we're not fighting alone. Yeah? My life is his problem. My exams are his problem. My future is his problem. I've got to do my bit, sure. I've got to work hard, I've got to trust, I've got to keep things in balance, I've got to rest. But I hand it all over to the Lord and I trust absolutely that he's going to help me to do what I need to do, to work to the best of my abilities, to get the results I need, to take me in whatever direction I need. And the trust that comes through praying humbly like a child gives us enormous peace and then helps us back into the circle to work well and rest well and be less worried and be more trusting. Okay? So, 5 tips. 1, work. 2, rest. 3, trust. 4, don't worry. 5, pray. I hope that's helpful. If you remember just one of them, maybe that's the Lord's message to you today. Thank you very much.